Welcome to Creative Conversations. I'm Roger Humphrey. In this episode, I'm pleased to welcome the award-winning pianist, Karine Poghosyan. Please join us as we talk about her upcoming Carnegie Hall concert, the music of Aram Katchaturian, her online concert series, and a whole lot more. Before we begin, hit the like, follow, subscribe buttons, and any other button you happen to see down there. Also, leave a comment, please. I'm still trying to convince the algorithm gremlins that I actually know people. Thanks. And so we are welcoming to the program a marvelous award-winning pianist, Karine Poghosyan. Thank you so much for coming on the program. I really appreciate this.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
I have to say, I'm a fan. When I found out that you agreed to come on the program, I was just jumping up and down.
Ah,
I really was. Your playing is so special. Well, I think if anybody has any idea at all, if they don't particularly care for solo piano, they need to go and listen to you because that'll change their mind in a heartbeat.
that'd
So,
thank you.
so thank you.
Thank you so much.
A whole lot of things I want to get into. You're originally from Armenia, living now in the United States.
Mhm.
Did you study here?
I began my studies in Yerevan, Armenia, and almost began to get into the music conservatory, got accepted, and then we had to relocate to the US. So my college training began officially in the US at Cal State Northridge and then Manhattan School of Music in New York.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice, nice. And you're still New York City based?
I am.
So,
Yeah. As soon as I graduated MSM, I was offered work opportunities there and started teaching there a little bit and just started playing a lot here in the city. So just stayed here.
well, it's a good place to stay.
It is. For a musician, it's a very inspiring place to be. It's quite hectic and crazy, but it's also very inspiring.
So, now you have a big concert coming up in June 10th, I believe, at Carnegie Hall.
I do.
That's
Yeah.
how exciting. Now, you've played there before, yes?
Yes, this is I was counting the other day, this is my 12th
Wow.
performance at Carnegie, but I have to confess this is my most exciting program, one I'm most proud of. I'm proud of all of them, but this one just means so much to me because the entire program is Aram Katchaturian, composer. I have had such a long work relationship with. I've recorded his music, I've championed his music, I've done lectures. So to actually get to fill the hall with music of Khachaturian on that evening is going to be so meaningful to me.
It sounds exciting. It really does. I was actually going back and re-listening because I've listened to it before. Your version of the Adagio from his ballet Spartacus, and it's such a beautiful piece. But you play it so well. I mean, it's just there's a lot of beautiful music out there, but a lot of people will play it flat. They just don't have any emotion when they play it,
Ah,
And I was just compelled. I found myself compelled to listen to it. I was really quite surprised when it was over. It's like, holy mackerel, it's been that long. Wow.
it's his music is exactly that. It's so captivating. You lose a sense of time when you're listening to it because it's interesting. It's incredibly simple and minimalist even at times. He uses such minimal devices and tiny little motifs that there isn't much there, in other words, but somehow it's so compelling. There's such a story and a journey and narrative. So I just adore playing his music.
I find music like that. And I think of Satie the same way, and I play Satie from time to time, and it works well on my little guitar over here. But I think of it almost like Japanese haiku poetry, where you're limited in a very small space and tell these great big stories.
Beautiful. That's really beautiful. Exactly that. Yes.
So yeah, it's just yeah, it's lovely. And you've recorded an entire album of his music, yes?
I have, and it's very special because the album came out 10 years ago in 2015. And so, in a way, it's a little personal anniversary for me as well to do
Oh,
this year, 10 years later. It has, that record has taken me to so many beautiful places. I've performed that program in so many beautiful halls around the world. So, It's a beautiful full circle moment to bring it to Carnegie Hall now.
There you go. Well, yeah, I was going to say you've played the program before. I mean, you've been playing the program for a while.
I have.
So
I have all across US, Vienna, Milan, a bunch of beautiful places.
we we are very fortunate with that our work environment is pretty good usually.
I agree. We are so lucky. Oh my goodness. I agree 100%.
So yeah, it's wonderful. So well, you go to all of I gotta believe Carnegie is one of your favorite places to play, but are there other venues that you just absolutely can't wait to get back to?
You know, it's interesting. Every place I've performed in, it's like there's a piece of me there now. So every time I return,
Oh,
it's a little bit of a homecoming. Whether it's a large scale 600, 700 seater, or a small intimate venue, they they all hold a special place in my heart. Like I played in this very lovely intimate venue in Milan called Casa Armena. It's a beautiful space for about, I think, a 50 seater. And
wow.
yet I had the most extraordinary experience there. It was a packed room with such warm, beautiful music lovers. So yeah, it's a delight every time I get to be on a stage, wherever that stage may be.
So it's interesting for me. This is a question I've never asked before, and I've had several people on. Um, as a guitar player and my friends who are violinists and cellists and et cetera, um, when I walk into that hall and I sit down to play, I know what my instrument's going to feel like and sound like because I practice on it all the time.
I know where you're
Every time,
going.
every time you walk in, you're sitting down to a new instrument.
I know where you're going with this. Yes, I do, and it's part of the joy. It's part of the thrill. You never quite know what to expect. I mean, the prayer and hope is it's that it remains in one piece and things don't fall. I have had that happen when the whole pedal fell and
Oh
all
my
that.
goodness, really?
Yeah, yeah. I've seen the whole gamut of experiences. It was a very strange second half of a performance without pedal, but oh well.
That's hilarious.
It's really quite a adventure. But no, I mean, thankfully 99.9% of the places I go have wonderful instruments, technicians, and they maintain the instruments and give them ideal atmospheres. But yeah, each instrument has a completely different personality, and so really the big challenge is to speak with the instrument, to communicate with it. And thankfully, I'm often given a teeny bit of a time beforehand to just kind of try my fingers and listen to the acoustics. And you just adjust, you push and pull a little bit as needed.
So, do you ever find certain instruments just really inspire you? I know it's just every once in a while you just hit a key, hit a note, and you go, ooh.
I have had a few experiences. My one of my favorite memories was in Vienna in Saal, um, which is in and of itself, the hall is quite legendary. Brahms has played there, and it's just
Wow.
you enter that space and you're already having, I just had goosebumps. Um, but it was a part of this beautiful summer program called Vienna International Pianists Academy, VIP Academy.
No.
And I was invited to perform there, and they host the most beautiful Bösendorfer. And I literally teared up as I played the first 10 seconds
Oh,
of
wow.
touching that instrument. It just was. I made a funny comparison, and all my colleagues started giggling. I said, "This is like eating ice cream." Literally felt so balmy and creamy and just fluid. It just was the most extraordinary communicative instrument that I was able to do everything I wanted to do dynamics wise. And yeah, I've had some blessed experiences like that, without a doubt.
When you don't have to work that hard physically,
Mhm.
it gives you a chance to really get into the music emotionally,
Absolutely.
because it doesn't interfere with your thought process
Oh
at
my
all.
God. Yes, yes, yes.
So, so those concerts must be wonderful. So,
It is like you said a moment ago, it makes you feel like you're the luckiest person in the world
oh yeah, yeah,
doing this.
yeah. And I'm with you. I really enjoy the small venues. I've never played an audience larger than about 1,500.
Mhm.
And I find it easier in some ways because you can't see anybody. You can hear them, but you can't see people, you know. And I'm like a pianist where you're turned to the side. I'm looking right straight at them.
Oh my.
Yeah, right. And and so when the lights are in your face and it's a big hall, you can't see them. But I also find it less inspiring when I sit down and play to 50 people or 100 people, and it's just natural room lighting, and you're almost knees to knees with the front row, and
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
it's a little bit nerve-wracking, but on the other hand, there's just something so communal about the whole process that I've always enjoyed.
I agree. I agree. It's interesting. I have it's just such a blessing to perform, to be on a stage. I have the most amazing experience. I just 2 weeks ago I played Gershwin Rhapsody in Blue for a packed hall. It was must have been 700, 800 people. And so it felt exhilarating to
Sure.
feel the energy of that many
Yeah.
people.
Hmm.
And you just feel that much more uplifted and inspired. But then I also have my own series that are very, very small scale. I purposely keep the audience to a very small, limited number. And it is exactly as you said. It's as though you're playing for your closest friends, like a salon, and it's very communicative. You feel their smiles and closeness. Each has its own place. I appreciate both, the bigger
Yeah,
and the
I'm right
smaller.
there. I really in my deepest section of my heart, I have a huge envy for those few people that were able to attend the salon of Nadia Boulanger back in the day. I thought, wow.
What must have that
Oh,
been like? It's just what a dream.
yes, yes, right. So well, you've done quite a bit since COVID, during
Yes.
COVID and since COVID, you've done quite a bit. Your career kind of took a little bit of a left turn there.
It's been the craziest 5 years. I'll be completely honest. I had a very normal, standard, conventional musician's life until COVID, in that I was just playing concerts.
Sure.
It's what I do. And then the very first week of COVID, obviously everything got canceled. I all of my calendar completely emptied out, and I was quite literally losing my mind, and I didn't know what to do. And I posted on, I think on Facebook or Instagram, um, the very first week of that lockdown, and I said, would anyone be interested if I do a little live stream on Friday night since we have nowhere to go? I know I don't. And to my absolute shock, there was a massive, warm, positive response. I thought no one was going to see, and I'm going to come back and be embarrassed and delete the thing. And yet there were all these comments, please, please do. We can't wait. And so, sure enough, I did about a 20-minute or so Facebook Live, March 20th, 2020. And then the response just was extraordinary from all over the world. Literally, people thanking me for giving them something to look forward to on a Friday. And it just became a weekly thing for 2 years nonstop. I did 100 live streams.
Wow.
And then, inspired by that, I decided post COVID, I decided to actually do my own monthly live stream broadcast series where on Zoom I would have subscribers that join my Patreon at a particular tier. And once a month, I would do an hour-long performance for them on Zoom. First, it started very kind of, just my laptop and a little Blue Yeti mic live stream. But then, thankfully, little by little, actually, the series expanded and I actually got quite a bit of support. I am so grateful to say I got two sponsors this year, Setan Nazarian and Marlene Yervanyan. I have to give them give them their
Great.
flowers. And thanks to their support, I actually was able to expand and not only do much, much more professional multi-camera broadcasts
Uh-huh.
where it's interesting to watch and the audio quality is absolutely studio level. But I also opened up to a small, intimate in-person audience. So it's a hybrid virtual and in-person
Oh.
series I do once a month. It's an entirely new program each month. So it's an insane amount of work. So much music to practice, but it's so much fun. And yeah, it's a very new thing that I just out of nowhere it was born. There's nothing quite like it out there, and I'm very proud of it and a bit terrified of it. It's so big, but it's very inspiring, and I'm proud of what I started. Let's see how far we go with that.
So I've talked to a couple people who've been resistant to that kind of thing, and they're
Mhm.
concerned that it would somehow diminish their audiences. That if people could stay home and watch, why would they show up and watch? Have you had that kind of experience at all?
It's fascinating. I have had the absolute opposite because each of the members that tune in, not from New York, because I have a very large audience or a base that is outside of New York. Uh, Quite a few of them have actually loved my work so much that they have actually engaged me to go to their cities and put on concerts for me. I've gone to Louisiana, I've gone to Wisconsin, Chicago, California. All kinds of interesting, unique opportunities have opened up because they came and they watched the live stream broadcast. So it's actually quite the opposite. I think we should especially us classical musicians, we can be a bit shy and a little reserved. I think we should open ourselves up a bit more and give it a chance. I think there's a whole world out there that doesn't know that we're doing what we're doing unless we put it out there and share. So,
I've had the opportunity to talk with people in the world of opera
mm,
and other classical musicians, and I've what I've noticed is that COVID changed. Boy, this is going to sound a little cold, but it's changed the way we do business.
mm,
We do things like this. We do live streams. In the world of opera, they're starting to do like little mini operas,
mm.
little 10-minute live stream opera kind of things, that you would never have because they can. It never occurred to them because
Why not?
mounting an opera, of course, is such an expensive proposition,
Mhm,
even in concert form. And so they're doing smaller, and I just thought this never would have happened 6 years ago,
mhm, mhm.
right?
It really was in some strange way. This does seem very bizarre to say, but it was in a way a blessing in disguise because for me personally, I can only speak for myself. What it did for me is it pushed me out of my comfort zone.
Ah,
As a performer, as an artist, it's very easy to just sit within a little comfort zone, a little box, and wait for things to come to you. And if you're, fortunately, I'm very grateful. I have a lot of opportunities in the old conventional sense. I still go out there and I perform with orchestras and all that. But at the same time, what it did was it pushed me out of that little bubble and pushed me to reach out to the world out there and share what I do and be open to their feedback and their sometimes their requests. It's a really interesting relationship. I mean, I remember in one of the Facebook lives earlier in the 2020 period, someone from Spain wrote a comment and said, they have a relative that has just gotten COVID and is not doing that great. And this relative had heard me play pictures at an exhibition in Italy 2 or 3 years prior. And they said it would just mean the world to them if you could, in your next live stream, do pictures.
oh wow.
I mean, it just was such an extraordinary thing to hear and have this very direct connection to someone that has heard me before and in a very direct way, maybe give them a little something, a little comfort with a piece that they really love. And I played it and they were, of course, so grateful. So yeah, it had a lot of positives, I think, that pushed us to open ourselves up a little bit more.
When we have an opportunity to bring joy to other people, we really have to take it, don't we? So yes, that's absolutely lovely. Um, so how many live concerts do you do in a given year?
Oh my
A-
gosh.
Approximately.
Depending, somewhere close to 30, 40, somewhere in there.
That's a pretty busy schedule, and then all of this on top of that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's a very busy life.
Do you sleep?
Good question. I try. I make an attempt.
So now, are your concerts a mix of solo and orchestral,
Mhm.
or okay? Now, do you do chamber music at all, or is that something you just don't have time for?
Yeah, in recent years, sadly, not as much simply because I just don't have the time to do a lot of rehearsing and yeah, but it's definitely something I'm open to. My most favorite, most recent collaboration was with the legendary Annika Vafian. And we did some Clara Schumann together and some beautiful Armenian music. So
Oh,
whenever I get the chance, I do collaborate.
that's that would be fun. My favorite is chamber to listen to and to play.
Oh,
I'm an okay guitar player. I'm not a great guitar player, but I'm an
ah.
okay guitar player. But I can hold my own in a chamber setting, and
Uh-huh.
and I like that a lot. And so I make some of the best music in that kind of an environment. And
Interesting.
so
Interesting.
yeah, it's just I feel it for me. It's just I like the camaraderie. I like the and there are things, for example, like as in the piano, but on a different scale.
Mhm.
When I strike a note, that note's going to decay.
Mhm. Of
I mean, right? You hit the note and you
course,
can
of course,
sustain it as best you can, but at
of
some
course.
point it's going to fall away.
So,
But when I sit next to a flute player, clarinet player, or a singer, and they're able to swell that note,
uh-huh.
that's something I can't do. I'm jealous.
Yeah, yeah. So you dovetail with them. Yeah, I love
Yes,
that.
absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. Um, so how many concerti are you doing this year? Do you know, or what concerti are you playing this year? It's on your program?
Yeah, I've done let's see, Chike. I've done I just did Rhapsody in Blue,
Okay.
which was a bit terrifying, must confess. We had very little rehearsal time. I literally
Oh.
showed up. Yeah, it was a bit crazy. Probably one of the craziest experiences of my life because I showed up, rehearsal was at 5 and then concert was at 7. And rehearsal ran a tiny bit late, so I had literally 10-15 minutes just to touch up on some spots. And can I just say, if I may be immodest for a moment, I think I did some of my best playing. It was just one of those where there's absolutely no time to get nervous, no time to overthink. You just go to a zone and you're in a different space and we just did it. We went out there and guns a blazing and played hearts out. It was a beautiful experience. So yeah, no, I have a rather large concerto repertoire. It's a beautiful experience playing with an orchestra. I feel always I have to up my game, if you will, when I play with 40, 50 people at the same time and you have to project. So you're especially like something like Gershwin, my
Yeah.
God, all that brass and so it's so cool as a pianist to really open yourself up and get a bit more extroverted and play out and so yeah, love concerti.
So you have the Katchaturian CD out, but you also have two others. You did one that's Rachmaninoff and Stravinsky, and I have to say, particularly with Stravinsky, I'm not totally familiar with his catalog or his music. Like any pedestrian, I know Firebird and but I didn't realize how deep his catalog was for solo piano, and it's lovely music.
It really is. And I love playing those two ballet transcriptions because I'm one of those pianists. I know it's a bit of a rare thing, but I really love playing orchestral music that's transcribed for piano.
Okay.
As you can see with the Khachaturian ballets as well. I think
Uh-huh.
I don't know, it's just so rich and so exciting. You play and you envision, oh, that's the oboe melody, and that's where the lower strings come in. And you play differently. I feel like it's almost like you transform each time that new instrument theme is being projected, and it's a very rich experience for me. So
Not
the
really imitative, but kind of inspired by that sound.
emulating or yeah.
Emulating, right? That was the word I was looking for.
Yeah, I love the Stravinsky ballets, Petrushka
So,
especially. Oh,
yes, yes. And the Rachmaninoff, and I've asked other pianists the same thing. Rachmaninoff, of course, his music is wonderful, but he was a virtuoso pianist
Mm.
and performer, and
Yeah.
so he writes differently, I think, just because he knows what he can do. Correct?
He is one of the most difficult composers for me. I adore his music, but it's also the the one I have to work the hardest. I think mostly because of what you just said, because it just is on another level of complexity, of layering and contrapoint and expression, reserve yet passion. It's just so many things in one, and I have to work very, very hard to prepare his material when I play. And each time I play it, I feel like, oh, I just scratched the surface. It's like,
But that's a good thing because then you
yeah,
want to come back and do it some more.
exactly. Yeah,
You don't get bored
you're
with it.
never there with what I want.
You can't ever say I've mastered that.
Yeah, got that. Never.
And of course, and the most obvious question is, of course, the guy had hands that were about that big. So so you got
Not
these big,
me.
massive
No,
chords.
I have tiny hands. I barely make it to a tenth. So yeah, again, to work hard. What can I say?
But then
Oh
you
well.
just kind of got it. So
Yes.
that's wonderful. So when you now, and you also have recently, about 2 years ago, you released a CD of folk songs from Liszt and
Full
Komitas,
CD.
and
Yes, yes, I have my CD here. It's such a beautiful project. It's another later. It's a beautiful project that I think brought together some very well-known pieces like Liszt Rhapsodies, and also composers that I don't think are appreciated enough and played enough. Komitas, of course, is one of them, my compatriot, but also Samuel Coleridge Taylor, wonderful Afro-English composer who was a recent discovery for me, and I fell madly in love with his music. It's just such beautiful music. Very, very rich and romantic in style, but also a very distinct, kind of unique style of his own that you don't quite hear anywhere else. And it was a joy to record his six little waltzes for that CD.
yeah, I haven't heard those yet, and I'm looking forward to hearing them. The Komitas I went to immediately. I was introduced to his music through Shahan Arusni.
Mhm.
I was fortunate enough and to have him as a guest about a year or so ago, and so he was talking about, and I honestly didn't know, and I went, wow, been
Yeah.
missing out. Armenian music is absolutely gorgeous music, and I've told some of my friends about it, and I said, there's you say Armenian music, and it sounds like it's going to be this really exotic kind of, and it's really not. It's just flat out beautiful music. And Komitas, wow.
Thank you. Thank you for
Uh,
saying that to the Armenian. That means the world. And I agree with you. It's really rich, very warm human music. Just like, the people there. They're very warm, very loving people. When you go there, you feel like you're family and they welcome you with open arms. And somehow the music reflects all of that.
so, well, believe it or not, we're about out of time.
Ah, wonderful
It's
to chat with
so
you.
I'm going to say thank you,
Thank you.
and hopefully you'll be on the show again sometime soon.
I would love that. Thank you for
Thank
having
you very much. Bye bye. I want to thank Karine Poghosyan for taking the time to come on the show, and I want to thank you too for hanging out with us. Hey, if you get a moment, head on over to www.rogerhumphrey.com and click on the blog tab at the top of the page. This is where I post updates on all my guests, their personal appearances, new recordings or books, and anything else that they may be involved in. This is a great way to stay informed, and it also helps out the podcast. If you like this podcast, please tell a friend that they're going to enjoy Creative Conversations with Roger Humphrey. Thanks.